As Len and Courtney introduced, what you're looking at here is a view of the online 3D virtual New Amsterdam prototype, which you can see now in the context of present-day Lower Manhattan. And we really developed the prototype as a proof of concept for this project. The idea was to create an environment of real 17th century New Amsterdam that you can walk around with, get that visual sense of Manhattan that Len was describing, to really understand what everyday life might have been like. So the prototype model focuses on Stone Street. It contains 28 buildings, a garden, a street scene of people who are engaged in everyday activities, and one fully modeled interior that features quotidian 17th century objects that might have belonged to a resident of New Amsterdam. The emphasis was really more on creating a sense of daily life in the Dutch settlement and really connecting the physical environment to some of the historical documents that we've been able to access through our collaboration. So we're going to go now to an eye-level view. You can see here each tax lot from the Castello plan is tagged with a number that corresponds to its listing in the Stokes iconography. And when you click on a tag, you see on the right, you get corresponding database information, and Toya is going to cover that a little more fully in a few minutes. As we walk around on the street, I just want to show you briefly. You can see the street scene, and also we have a garden. The garden was developed based on Joel Grossman's human landscape interactions in the 21st century. And it helps to give a sense of what the horticulture of New Amsterdam might have been like, both in terms of plant types and also planting styles. And just to go back out onto the street, you're able to see some figures. It is a web-based application, so there's a little bit of a lag in loading time. But the figures that we've used are extracted from 17th century Dutch paintings. So they kind of an amusing population for the scene. So a user of this model is able to walk freely and exploring at their will, and really get a sense of what daily life might have been like. So to see one of the common activities of daily life in New Amsterdam, we're going to go to the tavern, and I'm going to turn it over to Toya.
Hi, I'm Toya Dubin. I've had the great pleasure of working on this project with the folks from ESC and with Courtney and everyone else. It's been a pretty amazing project. I'm going to walk you through a path that allows you to see a little bit about tavern culture in the era of 1660 and the Castello plan. So Alahan's going to start by going to Tavern View. And the tax lot here, Alahan, you have to click on the label there. Thank you. This is tax lot N7, and it was a tavern belonging to Peter Andreasen. You can see on the right-hand side there's information about the tavern. If you click on more information, it'll take you out of the 3D model and into the Drupal database, which gives you all kinds of really interesting information about the tax lot itself. So if you follow down a little bit, you'll see there's a property type, and you'll see that property type was a tavern. Click on that for us, Alahan. Thank you. So if you wanted to learn about taverns, we have a painting of the interior of a tavern and a quote from Peter Rose's wonderful book. There's also a link where you can go and purchase that book if you're interested in it, and a link to the New Netherlands Institute's Light on New Netherland exhibit for more information about the culture of New Amsterdam and New Netherland. There are also related documents there, including a PDF file regarding tavern culture. And I know I'm going a little fast for Alahan here. We have a little bit slow connection because of the wireless in this building, so it's going to take a little bit of patience. But it's really interesting because taverns as they say there, taverns were not just a place to go have a beer. There were weddings performed in taverns. That's where a lot of your business transactions took place. They were really social gathering places that really, really important in the culture. We have more than one article in this case, one on smoking and drinking and games, and obviously smoking is something that the tobacco trade kind of evolved out of the Dutch West India Company's business here in New Amsterdam. So some of these articles you may recognize. Some of them come from De Halve Maan and from other places. Some scholars have been nice enough to allow us to include them in the model for now. And this is a game of marbles and shooters. So Alahan, you can click those close. This is one the Sabbath Keeper. This is an article about Peter Stuyvesant's valiant attempts to limit the amount of beer drinking that went on, or at least the days upon which it could go on. So let's go back to the tax lot page. There we go. And you can see that this tax lot belonged to Peter Andreasen, and we're trying to focus again on 1660. We actually have records that show some transactions for various tax lots, but for the purpose of this demonstration, we're strictly in 1660. So if you click on Peter Andreasen, you can learn quite a bit about him also. You can see that there's at least 2 related modern surnames. Please click on Andreasen. So if your last name is Andreasen, and forgive us because there is a small bug in here in that Peter is listed twice, and we will resolve that, but someone who is trying to do some genealogy might find that there's at least 3 ancestors with that last name, and they'd be able to find out about them. Please click back, Alahan. We can see that Peter Andreasen was a chimney sweep, a farmer, and a tapster. Let's click on tapster and find out what is that. I had to ask that question. What's a tapster? And David Voorhees was kind enough to provide us with a nice short definition of a tapster, and I made a note saying that I was confused about it. And that was intended to display to all of you that if there's more than one scholar working in Drupal as we open this up in the second phase, they will be able to post things like, wow, this really confuses me, or I have additional information here. Note that you could also see the Tavern Culture PDF here if you came upon this this way. So let's go back, Alahan, to Peter Andreasen's thing. We're going to be able to see he was married to Grietje Gerritsen. I hope I pronounced that okay. And if we click on her, we can see that when she was married to him, and that she was confirmed to be living in his tavern property in 1667. And we have another wonderful article that was contributed by Dr. Fabend on the relations between men and women. Let's go back one more time, Alahan. Thank you. Okay.